homers and halted on account of darkness after 8 innings in a 4-4 tie. The Dodgers never finished that game, and neither did their new shortstop. He never got the chance. After only his second professional game, Dato's major league career ended with a terrible suddenness when he learned that a violent missed swing he'd taken had cracked a lumbar vertebra. He returned to Los Angeles and, using the last $500 of his bonus money, founded a trucking business with his father that succeeded so spectacularly he would never worry about a payday for the rest of his life. The college coach he'd played for at USC entered the Navy in 1942 when the war began, and recommended Rod to take over his position with the team. Unfit for military service because of his injured back, Dato took the job, but would accept only a token salary of $1 a year. And that spring, young George Anderson walked onto his diamond. During the off-season winter months of professional baseball, when he was back home in Southern California, Dato's old mentor Casey Stengel became a constant presence on the USC practice field as well. The old professor managed Oakland in the Pacific Coast League after the war, before his glory years with the Yankees began in 1949. But for all the fun sports writers made over the years of his famously fractured English, Stengel was as knowledgeable about the game as any man alive. Dato insisted he always understood everything Casey said, admitting, "which sometimes worried me." For his bat boy George Anderson, the chance to listen to the old fella talk baseball every day was, as Dato years later described it, like sitting at the feet of Socrates, if George had only known who Socrates was. During his final season with the team, Anderson worked the game when the Trojans won their first college baseball World Series for Rod Dato in 1948. Before he retired 38 years later, Rod Dato would go on to capture 10 more NCAA championships, winning 1,332 games along the way, more than any baseball coach in college history. He would also manage 2 American Olympic teams and train the actors in the movies Field of Dreams and A League of Their Own to look like major leaguers. Forever grateful for the early faith Casey Stengel had shown in him, Dato later became the old professor's legal protector during his long and troubled dotage. Dato never asked for or accepted more than that $1 a year salary from USC, and became as beloved and celebrated a father figure inside his sport, if less well known outside of it, as John Wooden was in his across town at UCLA. In the course of his joyful life's work, Rod Dato recruited, taught, and nurtured dozens of remarkable young talents who would go on to play and star in the major leagues. That scrappy little bat boy Anderson never played a game for USC or any other college. Higher education wasn't in the cards for Georgie. He had no taste for academics, but his years with Dato gave him a tireless appetite for hard work, and the wisdom and enthusiasm of a great teacher soaked deep into his character. Using the skills and competitive fire he'd honed at Dato's side, Anderson earned all-city honors twice playing shortstop for Dorsey High, a team that won 42 games in a row on its way to consecutive championships, a record unmatched in Los Angeles to this day. Harold Lefty Phillips, a former minor league pitcher and then big league scout who covered Southern California, took an early interest in George Anderson. Lefty befriended the boy, intrigued by his feral intensity on the field and, unheard of in a kid his age, his insatiable thirst for knowledge about the guts of the game. On Phillips' recommendation, the Brooklyn Dodgers signed Anderson to a minor league contract less than an hour out of Dorsey High. He cashed his bonus check, a $3,000 windfall, and the Dodgers dispatched him to their developmental farm team just up the coast in Santa Barbara. George Anderson's dreams of playing professional baseball were right on track. Given his lack of interest in all things academic, they needed to be. A few years later, in 1955, the third season of George's wayward journey toward the big leagues, his team's radio announcer in Fort Worth commented on what had become a fairly common scene that summer. Anderson, hopping mad after a questionable call at second, going off on an umpire. "The Sparks are flying again tonight." Before he knew it, George, Sparky Anderson